Hello, my name is Hannah and I work at Salt Lake County Animal Services. And today I want to show you a few tips and tricks on how to teach your dog to leave it. So we all know that leave it is a wonderful skill to teach your dog. It's also a skill that can save their life. If you drop maybe medications on the floor or there's something dangerous on your walk that they could ingest, trash or things like that, it's important that they know leave it so that they don't go for those things and then have an issue. This can also be applied to people or other animals on your walks and things like that. But today we're just going to be starting at the beginning. So with leave it, you're going to need your treats and of course your dog. And we will be starting with the simple hold your hand out with treats in your hand and have reward treats in your other hand behind your back. So when your dog goes to sniff the hand, you're just going to hold it there, closed-fisted, so that they can smell the treats but they can't get to them. And the moment that they leave your hand alone, you're going to reward the other hand. Make sure that you mark this behavior. My marker word is nice, but you can use good or yes, whatever your marker word is that you choose, so that they know what it is that got them the treat. It was them moving their head away from the hand. I don't use the word yet. I don't put the word leave it to this cue yet. I'm just offering my hands. And the reason I don't use the cue in the beginning is I want them to understand that even if I don't say the word, it doesn't automatically mean it's theirs. So once they stop mugging my hand, I am going to move to an open hand. Now this gets a little bit harder because they can see the treats now. So you're going to offer your hands, open up your palm so they can see the treats. If they go in to grab them, simply close your fingers over the treat. When they're ready, open it back up. If they go for it again, close your fingers. You saw that Banjo, he likes to paw at my hand. It does look a lot like the shake cue when I was teaching him shake. So it was a little bit confusing, but he got a hang of it very quickly. So just stay patient. I will move it behind my back if the dog hurts me. If they're mouthing it really hard or getting a little bit too excited, I'm going to just put it back behind my back for a few seconds and then try again. If they continue to hurt me, we stop the game and we'll try again later with maybe a lower value treat, something not so exciting. But once he stops mugging my hand with the open palm, I'm going to reward him again from the hand behind my back. I don't want to give him the treats that I'm asking him to leave because that gets really confusing. So once he has my open palm down, we're going to go with treats on the floor or maybe a low table. So I do treats on the floor with my dogs. So I'm going to put my hand over the treats on the floor and get ready to cover it if they go for the treats. I don't want them to get to the treats before I reward them because that, again, makes the game a little bit confusing for the dog. Once they have those 3 steps down, we can start adding in the cue. So I'm going to start again with my hand, back to square one. They already know the game, so when I offer my hands and they leave it, I'm going to say, leave it, and reward. Offer my hands, when they don't touch it, leave it, and reward. I'm going to do the same thing through the other 2 steps. Open palm, leave it, reward. On the floor, leave it, with my hand ready to cover the treats, leave it, and reward. So that's how I will start introducing the leave it cue to my dog. And then once they have the leave it cue, and I've started to introduce that, we can go with a few more distractions. So I'm going to put a leash on my dog at this point so that they can't get to the treats if they want to. So it sets them up for success, but it ups the ante. It makes it a little bit more difficult. So with my dog on a leash, I am going to put some treats on the ground or toss some treats. Just remember how much leash you've given your dog versus how far the treats are. If you toss a treat and they run for the treat, we don't want them to be able to get the treat. Don't jerk your dog back, but just keep the leash still. And when they stop going for the treats, tell them to leave it, and offer them that treat. So we're gonna toss treats, leave it, and then give them a reward. Now, once they get really good at that, you can start putting treats closer to them. So it's a little bit more difficult. They could reach them if they wanted to. So you wanna make sure that they're at the point in their training where you know they're probably not going to go for those treats. Once they have that part down where the treats are closer, you can actually start walking your dog around the room, introducing movement to this behavior. So this gets even harder for your dog. Their impulse control is at an all-time high. They're having to walk past these delicious treats and get rewarded from you. You also want to make sure that the treats that you are leaving on the floor are of equal or lesser value than the treats you're rewarding with. If you're rewarding with boring treats, but you have hot dogs on the floor, that's going to be really difficult for your dog, and the choice will be an easy one for them. They'd rather have the hot dog. So we want to make sure we have the hot dogs and we have boring treats on the floor, because later on, when things are very distracting in the real world, we want them to think that we have all of the good things. Once he's got the walking around down, and I think he's really got a hang of leave it, I'm going to move this to a more distracting environment. So I'm going outside with my dogs in my backyard. I don't want to start too difficult, so we go to the backyard where they're used to the noises and smells back there. And I'm going to start back at square one. Now they already know this game, so I'm just running through the steps that they're successful at before I move to treats on the ground and walking around them where it's much more difficult because we've added movement and a new environment. So I'm going back to square one. Offer my hand, reward them for leaving it alone. Open palm, leave it, reward them for that. Treats on the floor, leave it, reward them for that. So I'm going to be running through all of the basic steps that we've already covered in a more distracting environment. Make sure that they're really consistent and they're really good at all of the different phases before you introduce more distractions, maybe a person. So now it's a person that they have to leave, or a favorite toy or something like that. So again, leave it. It's a wonderful skill. It does take patience and consistency to get this skill done and really good, but it's a life-saving skill. It's one that all dogs should know, and it doesn't take very long for them to start catching on. You just have to be consistent with you're better than all of the distractions around them. So that is some tips and tricks on how to teach your dog to leave it. If you want to learn more about Salt Lake County Animal Services, please visit our website at adoptutahpets.org, or you can find us on Facebook. Thank you.